I don't know who needs to hear this, but claiming that the original Native Americans were black is indigenous erasure and not productive.
So I wanted to start with that. Nobody's claiming that you guys are black. What we're simply claiming is you guys are not the original inhabitants. Like, for instance, you guys are mainly talked about, yet the first Indians to ever meet the Pilgrims were black. And when you truly look into history, you find out that the first tribes that had ever met the Europeans here in America all got enslaved in this land. It's not until the end that you start hearing about the so-called Mongolian Native Americans. By exposing what Indians were truly native to this land, just shows black people are the original Indians. And it's written in the hieroglyphs of the Mayans. But no, we're not stating they were black. We're stating they were the first invaders.
Back to the joint 23-1, and once you locked in, you locked down for life, because ain't no getting out. And I want to give an introduction to my brother Dane Calloway here. This man here is a hood historian. What he does, he goes around and he gets all the facts that we need, from the Dawes Acts to the Red Line, everything that's been passed to take the land from us, everything we need to know that connects us to being indigenous to this land, so we know who he is, where we supposed to be going, because everything's been misconstrued, you know what I'm saying? Everything been stole and everything been rewritten and like whitewashed. The Indians you see today, you think about the ones you see in Hollywood or the ones on these reservations that pay $5 to become Indians due to the Dawes Act. But like I said, the brother Dane gonna break it more down. If you're not familiar with this brother, go follow Dane Calloway. The brother just here to make you think. And hope y'all got y'all, leaf and your herbs together, and we ready to rock out. No further ado, it's Dane Calloway.
America. People are suffering from a variety of distractions that are placed in the forefront of the public's eye in order to maintain a particular degree of division amongst themselves. And when it comes to the history of slavery in America, some may feel as though slavery was abolished in 1865, when it was merely upgraded and transitioned into what it is known today as, which is employment. The industrialized version of what President Woodrow Wilson and his administration, along with multiple other co-conspirators like Henry Ford, J.P. Morgan, Andrew Carnegie, John D. Rockefeller, and the University of Chicago, just to name a few, created and enacted into law for the benefit of 1% of the people.
If y'all want to know who created that 8-hour work shift, the whole thing, and sending kids to school, and it was Henry Ford.
And their social engineering experiment also included control over things that would affect one's mindset, controlling what is known as American history, religion, science, social media, and public education. In 1909, in front of a large set group of law advisors and educators, President Woodrow Wilson was quoted stating the following: "We want one class of persons to have a liberal education, and we want another class of persons, a very much larger class of necessity in every society, to forego the privileges of a liberal education and fit themselves to perform specific difficult manual tasks." End quote. In other words, compulsory educational institutions, which does not exclude colleges and universities, were handed down particular curriculums that taught its students how to become industrial providers that will benefit already existing companies of the open market throughout America's capitalist society, while the other class will be provided a much higher quality education, to say the least, allowing its students to think freely and become innovators in having control. Making excellence inclusive rather than inclusive will require revolutionary change, not just in our practices, but also in our mindsets. Dr. Carl Snyder. Hold up. Y'all saying YouTube cut off again? I don't see that. I'm on here. I do not see that. That's crazy, because I don't see that.
Something messing up in the brother chat, trying to get it right for the chat box, no. So bear with us. He about to get
It stopped and kicked you out the live. You keep getting kicked out the live. You got kicked out the live. Okay. Now that's definitely on YouTube. That's definitely not me. Everything is green. I can see my bars are in the green. My reception is up high. That's definitely not me, y'all. YouTube is fine. They must be trolling. We came back, it's going on. Okay, quietly come back and then YouTube. Okay, wait a minute. Hold on, mods, tell me. I'm not sure who telling the mods. Can I have some mods on the main YouTube and some mods on the shorts? And then somebody on TikTok, because I'm not sure what is going on. Like, I don't know if they trolling or not.
They trolling, bro. Fuck them. They trying to stop the live, man.
Nobody's trolling. That happened to me too. My YouTube is not cutting off. The live haven't stopped for me. YouTube is fine. YouTube is fine. YouTube is kicking me out. I'm okay. Okay, let me quote it, stating the following. We want one class of persons to have a liberal education, and we want another class of persons, a very much larger class of necessity in every society, to forego the privileges of a liberal education and fit themselves to perform specific difficult manual tasks. End quote. In other words, compulsory educational institutions, which does not exclude colleges and universities, were handed down particular curriculums that taught its students how to become industrial providers that will benefit already existing companies of the open market throughout America's capitalist society, while the other class will be provided a much higher quality education, to say the least, allowing its students to think freely and become innovators in having control. Making excellence inclusive rather than inclusive will require revolutionary change, not just in our practices, but also in our mindsets. Dr. Carl Snyder. Now, since you have been made cognizant of how a liberal education was designed for only 1% of the people, that should make you question everything that you were ever taught in school, even if you earned a doctorate or any form of degree for that matter. Because it's not about you being taught the best education possible when you were being taught lies as your education to begin with. It's now beyond black and white issues. It's what's wrong and right issues. For example, over the years, the descendants of the indigenous Aboriginal Niji, Turtle Island, or rather the people that are falsely misclassified as African Americans today, are owed a lot more than just a form of reparations, and those who feel as though they should be paid for their direct ancestors' involvement with the creation and industrialization of the United States of America should be paid. However, just a simple check or lump sum of money given by those who benefited from our ancestors' labor to make amends for the now over 240 years of hereditary damage this capitalist society indulged upon our ancestors does not, in fact, resolve the overall issue. And here's why.
I just want to pause real quick now. We going into why we owe reparations for, free labor and all that. I feel like, man, we can X all that out and just go off the fact that y'all burnt all our communities down in the 1900s. Fuck all that. Y'all owe way more. This government owes way more than just some money and whatever the hell y'all planning on trying to give a motherfucker to compensate for that shit. No. Y'all owe land, states. Y'all motherfucker owe cities and towns to people, bro. Like, this shit ain't, man, it's bigger than some money, bro. And then like, nigga, like, ain't no justice in this country because ain't no justice been served for none of the shit that happened to none of these people. What about the people that lied, like the women that cried out and lied and started all this shit and got people young boys hung and killed by white mobs and shit. Come on, man. And no justice been served. Nobody give a fuck. It's just like, hey, just forget about it and just live on with your life. And we still gonna mistreat you with this. Mainly with this new system, I can just tell how motherfuckers about to be trying to act now. Like, this shit, man.
Let's take the definition of reparations, for example. The one which is heavily highlighted to the public, stating that reparations is an act of making amends or giving satisfaction for wrongdoing, maybe in a form of payment for damages. But let's look at another definition for reparations, which is an act of repairing or keeping in repair. Now, doesn't that sound familiar? Sort of like when you take your car to a mechanic who has plans to fix the initial problem with your car, but somehow more damage is done, so that at a later time you are sure to return to continuously allow that same bad mechanic to work on your car unknowingly. Or, I'll give you another example. It's like when you visit your doctor and he or she prescribes you a pill that allegedly cures one problem, but yet it somehow exposes you to several more. This is the problem with reparations. It does not fix the problem. It just covers it up for a certain time period. And yet, the problem still persists. Because in order to fix a problem, we must begin at the root of a problem. This is why it is critically important for our people to know the truth about our past in order to see exactly where the problem began. In my previous documentary called The Untold Truth About Reparations, ADOS, and Slavery in America, I shared detailed information about the Civil War, why and how it was a labor dispute, and I also mentioned that Abraham Lincoln did not free so-called African American slaves with the release of the Emancipation Proclamation, or Proclamation 95. But what President Lincoln's Proclamation 95 did do, however, was ended the Civil War by quelling.
Well, a lot of people don't know what that law too. I believe that law has something to do with the Seminoles that was whooping ass, and then they dipped off to Mexico. And I guess the government passed a bill like if you stay in Mexico and don't return, you free. I don't know, man. It was something borderline or some shit with that.
Advancement of military troops upon any people or person who did not agree with the United States government. Instead of fighting, it was urged by politicians for people to bring their disputes to Congress, but only through a representative of each state. This is how the United States was established, having learned how to govern the 13 colonies by watching the operations of the previous confederacies our ancestors owned. By watching the previous confederacies that our ancestors owned is how they established it. Watch this. I will go into more detail about this. Hey, block that person. I'm sick of seeing that person in my TikTok chat. Block that person right there. This later on in another segment. But what is important to note here is that in order to restore the Union upon the remaining confederacies that would eventually turn into governments of each state, a set of reparations had to be agreed upon in favor of the copper-colored landowners, sharecroppers, or the Negro farmers, making this one of the main possible reasons why Abraham Lincoln was assassinated in 1865. Now, reparations could have been delayed for the people of color due to a few factors. One, a study has never been conducted by any creditable source in order to discover just how much in a form of payment should the employees between 1776 and now be compensated for their binding contracts of forced labor. Now, how much, before we go any further, how much do y'all think, that's a very good question, how much do y'all think we are owed? Be real. Now put a number on it. And look, don't say infinity. I agree with you, but hold up. Put in.
I'll say you give us the Midwest, all the way to the West Coast, to the South, back to the Southeast. And y'all can have the whole East Coast and the Northeast, like all the way up from, I want to say, Maine, all that shit, all the way down to D.C. and all that shit. But when it comes to like Virginia, everything from Virginia, Tennessee, all that's us. From the south all the way down, that's us. Michigan, Ohio, all that's us. Everything on the side from all the way down is us. Y'all can have that shit. Build y'all whole big ass corporation right there. And give us back our land. Give us our shit back. Fuck that money.
On it, real quick. Put a number on how much you think we are owed. Trillions? Okay. Billions? 5 trillion? 100 trillion? 80 billion.
When y'all govern y'all, we gonna figure out what we gonna do for us. Blacks, Mexicans, all of us, we gonna sit down at the table and we all figure it out. Shit, we got enough educated brothers. We're pretty sure we got a lot of business and educated Mexican brothers and South American brothers and Caribbeans. We all get together with some Africans and stuff. We all gonna sit down at the table. We all figure it out. We figure out how to rebuild our shit all back up. You know what I'm saying? We all get our shit back together. Y'all step aside and y'all already good. Y'all keep doing y'all thing or whatever. I'm pretty sure people gonna still do business with y'all, cause shit, I mean, it's business. But we need our shit. We need our shit, bro. We need us, bro. We need everything back to us. The niggas is just discombobulated, bro. And I'm gonna tell you, having some land, some freedom, a motherfucker can sit back and find themselves again.
A lot. The whole country. Okay? Okay? 500 trillion. 1 trillion, 40 acres in a mule. 87 trillion.
Nope.
12.1 trillion. Okay? 777 trillion.
Nope.
999 trillion.
Nope.
A lot of people saying trillions.
I don't want them trillions. They can keep their trillions.
Okay.
They keep all their printed money.
Alright.
We don't need none of it. All y'all gonna do
I
is
swear to God. Whoop.
all niggas gonna do is get that money and ball out. I'm telling you, that's all. You gonna give it right back to them. I'm guaranteed. Motherfuckers ain't gonna buy no land. It's gonna be a few of us that's gonna probably buy some land and build some houses and do our thing and build some communities and some cities. The rest of everybody gonna blow that shit. You gonna be Versace'd out, Tesla trucks, a whole Tesla crib, millions of dollars. I'm telling you. Man, listen, white people ain't stupid, bro. They had to sit there and get niggas. They gave everybody, if they gave all of us right now, everything hit our account. All of us got an account set up and the card sent to us and everything. Each and every one of us had $100 million in it right now. They gave us 100 M's. Everybody a piece. Every black person got 100 M's. Your kids got it, you got it, everybody got it. I guarantee you, less than 5 years, 75% of niggas will be broke. 75% in 5 years will be broke with that 100 M's. They gonna live a motherfucking, man, listen, niggas is gonna live. I'm talking about a nigga might travel across the ice wall, nigga. I'm just telling you, nigga might travel and just buy tickets to go out of space. I'm telling you, niggas gonna be spending that money, Dubai trips, the finest lobsters. Niggas that never ever got a chance to live. I'm sorry, gonna be doing is just living. There ain't gonna be no working. Niggas gonna live it up for 5 years straight. They gonna blow it through that fucking money. Chains, watches. Ain't gonna be no crime. Oh, you ain't gotta worry about no crime no more. Oh man, you gotta worry about a lot of foolery. You gotta worry about a lot of foolery. You ain't gonna worry about no crime. Niggas gonna blow that money, nigga. They gonna blow it. 75%, bro. Gonna blow that shit. You hear me? And niggas in jail, I guess y'all gonna say they can't get the money, or if they can, they people gotta get, or however you set they shit all up. But them niggas in jail just gonna be in there eating motherfucking good ramen noodles and shit. Nigga ain't even gonna try to pay for a lawyer and try to get the fuck out that motherfucker.
Said Bitcoin. Who said Bitcoin?
I would probably time. Shit, nigga, I'm about to pay for a lawyer and get out this bitch, nigga.
Who said Bitcoin? I mean, well, look, the way Trump doing it now, Bitcoin right around the corner for everybody, huh? Allegedly.
Hella niggas gonna buy some Bitcoin. Bitcoin stocks that shit gonna go up so goddamn high, man. Niggas gonna, shit, 100 million. I'm pretty sure niggas gonna be buying $1 million worth of Bitcoin.
Somebody said Bitcoin. 2. There were subdivisions doing business as institutions, agencies, banks, and corporations that history fails to mention who worked as liaisons of the U.S. government, directly involving themselves with funding both sides of the 60. Me personally, I wouldn't want a bit of Bitcoin from this government. What I would want from this government is their exit. We got it from here. That's what I would want. Undocumented wars of the 18. That's inevitable. That ain't wishful thinking. That's inevitable. Watch. By creating loopholes and other schemes that forced our ancestors out of their own lands here in America, and also with streamlining the industrialized version of slavery that still exists today. 3. These companies were never held responsible. Wait a minute. As I'm breaking it down, modern slavery, human trafficking, forced labor, debt bondage. Look. 29.8 million people in modern slavery globally. It's way more than that. It's way more than that.
I believe it's way more too.
But alright, let's keep going. For their actions in a courtroom, which makes it even more reason to reveal who should be held responsible still, in order to bridge the gap between justice and equality for the Indigenous Aboriginal needs. Y'all about to know who it is. The majority of bonds that were paid off by employers in order to hire prisoners of war as their new employees were done so by either bartering or loaning contracts out. See that? Some are $35 for the hire of the Negro, and it says her name.
Y'all feel free
Maria,
to zoom into that.
to be paid quarterly
Zoom into that.
for the year 1834. And we further engaged to furnish the said Negro with good
Y'all pause
and
and zoom in
sufficient
and screenshot
summer
that.
and winter clothing in proper season, and to return the said Negro with good blanket at the end of the year. Above specified. This is what I mean by genealogy is very important, because you're not going to find slave records. You're going to find records that people were hired.
Yeah.
This is another way of saying that this is an application for employment. Now, keep in mind, if they had stocks and bonds, they're going to say, well, it was we were property, Dane, we were property. They looking at you that same exact way when it comes to employment. Employment pull out insurance policies on their employees. That's property on their employees. That's right now. This is not a game. So anytime you hear slavery, think employment. Anytime you hear indentured servitude, think contract and employee. It's the exact same thing. Employers as a form of business credit. This method remains intact still today. A bond is a, quote, promise to repay the principal along with interest on a specific date. Some bonds do not pay interest, but all bonds require a repayment of principal. When an investor buys a bond, he or she becomes a creditor of the issuer, end quote. So since the so-called slave master, or rather the employer, becomes the creditor, and the so-called slave holder, or rather the issuer of the bond, is the investor, then both parties are not only responsible for funding slavery, but should be held responsible for refunding the so-called slave. It's that simple. It's that simple. So that HR 40, and they talking about something they want to study, how come it took me, I want to say about a year in order for me to get this research done? It didn't take me long. HR 40 was brought about in 1989. Do you know they're trying to reestablish HR 40 again in 2025? And I showed you guys that Ayanna Pressley lady, the Democrat with the bald head, is trying to reestablish HR 40 again in order to continue to study. It's nothing for you to study. This information is publicly available. If I could get it, you could get it. I didn't have to create a whole commission. I didn't have to create a whole league in order to find this out. It's real simple. Those investors and creditors should be held responsible. And I'm going to tell you who they are in this video too. Watch. Keep in mind that our ancestors were under the impression that they were not working for free and that this form of slavery or blind capitalism will benefit everyone, especially those who were the majority of the help that literally built America from the ground up due to promises or contracts that were never upheld by the promising parties. Hence the term indentured servitude. The noun indenture is a, quote, written formal contract and of services, a deed with mutual covenants. You guys can see, you guys can find indentures if you do your genealogy on your family. You're looking for that. Now, the majority of you who are indigenous to this landmass, the majority of your ancestors were landowners. This is how you know who was the enslaved masters for sure. Paper trail. I dare you to look it up. I dare you. So, who are these people that should be held responsible for the millions of broken promises, compulsory educational institutions, unpaid laborers, and unpaid military soldiers who fought and died for the uprising of this country, destroyed legacies, cultures, and spiritualities, inequality in workplaces, generational poverty, stolen land allotments, racism, concentration camps turned project housing reserved for only a large median of people. Hold up, again. Stolen land allotments, racism, concentration camps turned project housing reserved for only a large median of people of color, identity theft and paper genocide, and many years of injustice and discrimination. The answer to this question is very complex and will require me to produce multiple segments surrounding this topic to break it down. All the segments are in this video. Here's a critical example to make note of. The majority of our people now can recall hearing stories about how their ancestors and even some living elders were former sharecroppers, landowners, or farmers. And the way Hollywood paints the picture of American Indians should make you question why you would rarely see authentic photographs, painted or engraved images of the Hollywood depicted version of American Indians working in the fields anywhere across the southeastern region of North America. So, listen, if they were not out in the fields working, okay, even if they were working for their own family, because in most cases, family members hired their family.
This is my whole thing with these motherfuckers. If these the indigenous people of America and we not, why you never invented shit? You telling me the whole time these motherfuckers' history is only they was over here eating corn and some white niggas came up, killed all their ass, raped all their women, and then left a few of them alive and gave them these reservations, and they just been on a reservation getting drunk, eating Doritos, gambling, doing nothing. They ain't invent shit. So then when it comes to the Negro, we done invented all kind of shit. We got the longest history. You can go all the way back to the Olmecs and the Mayans and all this shit. All these motherfuckers, black motherfuckers. All these inventions we done did all through history and everything that's been stolen, all these shit that's been taken from us and repatented. They haven't done anything. We did everything. Or we have way bigger mark in American history than these motherfuckers. That's how I know these is not the indigenous. These are just some motherfuckers that came over here. They got paid to learn about, to be like us. They went through schools and shit. They learned our culture and shit a little bit. and gave these motherfuckers some goddamn little land and shit and say, we gonna leave y'all here, so when people wanna see the Native Americans that we portraying it as, they can always come back and look at y'all. Then when you go on the reservation, they don't even look like these motherfuckers no more. It's white motherfuckers, like straight up white looking motherfuckers, like straight white Englishmen up there talking some, yeah, we're Native Americans, we Cherokee, or my father got married thousands of years ago. Let's set this bullshit up. Man, go pay $5 to get on them damn land allotments. You can put your fucking name down on them motherfucking lists. And that's how your people got on that shit, nigga. You ain't no goddamn. Come on, bro. You know you from. Come on, you know your descendants from Europe. It ain't got nothing to do with over here, bro. Like, come on, bro. Y'all niggas. The cap is. I just want to go to schools and just start grilling all the history teachers. I want to just start debating all the pastors and church motherfuckers. Man, I'm telling you, bro, these motherfuckers, it's just too many lies, bro.
Okay, to work in the fields because they were taking care of their family.
Mentality you got.
On what you would call the plantation. Now, do we have any images of so-called Native Americans doing so?
Niggas doing shit. I ain't even ever. Man,
I'm looking at chat right now. Have you ever seen an image of so-called? This is how you could tell that those people are spanking brand new.
Brand new.
You cannot find an image of them working out in the field.
They just came around.
Now, I have previously shared with you all that we could find other foreigners working out on the field as well as our people. Okay?
This Irish motherfucker that's way more indigenous to this goddamn land than they is, bro. Real shit. I mean, we'll say native, because they came here as workers. In the 1600s, Irish motherfuckers came as slaves, you know what I'm saying? And it was sold to the Portuguese by England. And they was in Brazil. And they worked their way up through the Caribbean, and eventually, you know, they made their way to the South, you know, Florida and all that shit, you know, just workers and shit. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. Motherfucking, these motherfuckers, come on, man.
But those foreigners were not considered
These
Native Americans.
Never nowhere around.
They were not considered natives. Not by way of paperwork. They were out in the field with a headdress on. You heard me, right? Let that sink in. How would millions of American Indians be able to survive if they didn't know how to farm? And for that matter, how would American Indians, millions of American Indians, be able to survive if they didn't know how to farm? That's key. American Indians have time to set some time aside to teach millions of so-called enslaved American Negroes how to farm. Before these same millions of American Negroes taught the incoming white foreigners from Europe and Africa how to farm. Think about that. How would a foreigner know how to grow crops in a foreign territory? This is another reason why you know we're indigenous to this land.
Y'all see that?
That's impossible.
I got another video coming up.
If a person, for example, if a person came from Africa right now and tried to grow crops out here, as soon as they got here, how would they know which lands will be fertile, what time period they should do it? They're unfamiliar with the environment. It's a totally different environment. Think about that. I'm not saying that they don't know how to plant a seed. I'm talking about how are they able to grow crops successfully in order to take care of themselves and their family members without dying from trying first, because they don't know. The only way they would know is if our people taught them.
Landing in a new territory, new land, new season.
Same thing goes for the foreigners. That's well documented. Those county agents, to further their expertise in farming that Martin Luther King was talking about, was our people. The U.S. Marshals, our people. The farmers, our people. The sharecroppers, our people. The tenants were the foreigners. You're going to learn throughout this whole segment. Watch. It get deeper. The answer is very simple. The American Indian is the American Negro. They've been lying to take the land from you.
King, you liken these payments to slave reparations, but just factually speaking, how can you say that? These payments are not for anyone descended from slaves. These are payments, they're not even for black farmers who were discriminated against all throughout the 1900s. They're payments specifically for black farmers who the USDA admits were being discriminated against between 1983 and 1997. So how are these slave reparations?
Well, I've sat on the Judiciary Committee for 8 years. I sat through slavery reparation hearings that were held by Chairman John Conyers, and of course through the hearings here on the Pigford Farms claims. And the motivation that comes from this looks to me like there's no resistance on the part of the proponents to hold back or look for fraud in this. They just simply seem to be content with every black farmer that would apply would get what was defined as Judge Friedman and in his opinion as virtually an automatic payment.
Dr. Boyd, let me just ask you specifically, though, staying on this topic. I mean, Representative King has talked about a hypothetical Johnny who was born on a farm but, quote, went off to the city, became a drug addict, and now wants the $50,000 that comes from the USDA under this claim. How strict is the vetting of these claims?
Well, first of all, I think that that statement has a terrible racial undertone and very, very offensive to our black farmers. And we need to forget here, we help feed the country. We help feed the world. And we paid our price to be in this country and to own land. And what the government done to black farmers is wrong.
How strict is the vetting? I mean, Representative King is saying just about anybody who's African American can claim to have been a farmer.
I don't like the fact how people be like, we earned our right to, it's like, why niggas keep sitting around like, we earned our keep, we put in hard work to stay. Nigga, fuck that, this your land. Fuck you mean you put in hard work to motherfucker, this is your shit. Whether you hard keep working or not, motherfucker, no, nigga, this is your shit. Stop sitting here making it seem like this was somebody else's shit and you came here and bust your ass and you owe something. No, nigga, this is your shit.
Strict is it?
The consent decree says African Americans who farmed or attempted to farm between 1981 and 1997. And the reason we use that definition is because the case is about bringing justice and equality and fairness to a group of people who deserve it. And it's long overdue justice.
Congressman King, it is pretty shocking when you start to look into what happened in the USDA. I mean, they were literally throwing out discrimination claims, just dumping them in the garbage in some cases. You claim 75% of the claims now being made in this program by African American farmers have been fraudulent. You say an unnamed person working for the USDA gave you that estimate. USDA says that percentage is complete nonsense. The FBI has investigated, they say, found only 3 cases of fraud. Where's the proof of this 75% claim?
The FBI got involved and only proved that it was 3 cases out of thousands that were fraud. These Congress people tried to stop it.
Well, and John Boyd says that there's no fraud. The FBI or the USDA has reported that the FBI came up with 3 cases that they prosecuted. Now, what is the level of fraud here? I've said that I had a district director who was deployed to Washington, D.C. to help administer the distribution of the first $1.05 billion under Pigford. He came back, he among others, with stacks of copies of the documents, sick at heart, and he said at least 75% are fraudulent. And so we can't say that there's no fraud here. Here's what we know. Judge Friedman put in his decision, he wrote 40 acres and a mule in his decision. So I'm not making this part up about reparations. That is the words. That's the code words for reparations.
Wait a minute, sir. I've read that decision, and he just started. Sir, I've read that decision, and he just used that in a recitation about the history of the interaction between African Americans and the U.S. government and the USDA. He wasn't equating 40 acres a mule to this program.
Well, and also
let me say, though, Anderson, that he laments that he can't fix all the wrongs of slavery and segregation in one civil rights case. Now he's got a second one.
I want Dr. Boyd to be able to respond. Dr. Boyd.
Let me talk here. The farmers deserve this restitution. It's long overdue.
The first document I found was the Aetna slave policy. The Aetna slave policy. The Aetna slave policy.
Aetna Insurance. I pulled it up so you can see him. It get deeper, y'all. I tell you, every single company involved. Hold up, let me let y'all read that. Remember what I just said? That employers take out insurance policies on their employees. This still, slavery is still happening. And this is just one of them. This is just one example. You're going to see many, many more. It's not a game, y'all.
As soon as the story broke in the media, they backed down on the restitution.
So as soon as it got into the media, they denied it. They didn't want to hand nobody nothing. Let that sink in. Acknowledge that they were issuing the slave policies during the 1850s. Offers an apology. Denies reparations. Who smell a lawsuit? If y'all smell a lawsuit, type in lawsuit in the chat. We about to get their ass. Type lawsuit in the chat if you smell a lawsuit. And this ain't over. Though again, those that paved the way in the past for certain things to get done that they pointed out in the past, and I was able to pull things up myself and more, we coming after these people. We gonna pin them down. We not playing no games with nobody else's child here. Type lawsuit in the chat if y'all think that lawsuit should come. Let's go. Oh yeah, class action. Class action lawsuit. This is not a game. It's time, y'all.
Too bad we ain't all ganged up on
Man,
the same movie.
to my fellas out there, don't get scared. Get suited and booted. I'ma need you right beside me. Ladies, I need y'all to be warriors as well. Get suited and booted. Get ready. It's gonna be a different type of war. It may even be televised. Get ready. Be ready.
The descendants continue to suffer collective sort of problems. They suffer from extraordinary problems in healthcare, in education, in housing, in every facet of life, infant mortality, life expectancy, in all the areas that speak to the quality of life. The descendants continue to suffer.
And what drives you? Justice. I'd like to see that the truth is told, and that these corporations that committed horrendous acts against my ancestors pay restitution. They should not be able to keep assets they acquired stealing people and stealing land.
If our ancestors
businesses burnt down, cities, towns,
then it seems to me
killings, man. I killed
logical
motherfuckers.
that that descendant should benefit from that.
It's actual war, bro. These are actual war.
Because that wealth has been
Military
passed down from
planes
generation to
dropping
generation.
bombs on goddamn black
Companies,
town.
foundations, individual families.
I got all of this documented, y'all. So everybody that tried to do this before, if they're still around, I'm going to reach out to them to, for them to join us. But we could do this too. Okay? And we're going to need more than just 5 or 6 people. It got to be all of us hitting them.
Yeah, bro, we gotta come. We gotta
get ready.
Every nigga.
It seems to me
we have a lot of
that
sellouts,
those
so they
directly responsible for creating it, since they did not benefit notwithstanding the fact that they invested their labor, their lives, and all the torture and
I see the mistake they made,
process that went with slavery.
but at least they tried.
Their descendants should, just as the descendants of the wealth on the plantation owner and slave owners, their descendants are still enjoying the wealth. And many companies that came out of the slave period, their economic foundation was based, and stability was based on slave labor and the blood, sweat, and tears of slaves.
All right. So this is part 2. And then we got a part 3 after this. We're going to knock all this out. Keep in mind, we got a few things coming, you guys. I'm not kidding. This is actually in the works. We got a few things coming. So I need you to pay attention to the things that I announced that's coming up shortly. Because if you want to be a part of it, and I'm talking about for real, like a real fight, not marching, not putting up signs. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about hit these fools where it hurt. If you want to be a part of that, you got to be legit. You got to be legit. We got things set up where we going to know that you legit. Watch.
Reparations is the moral equivalent.
We going to hit them.
Of what we're doing. But reparations is, as you know, a resurgent idea on the left. It's suddenly popular. At least one presidential candidate, but 2, I think, Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren, are now calling for reparations. Is that good or bad?
You got to be bigger than reparations.
Proposal that I ever heard. First of all, it's important to deconstruct it a little bit. Reparations, the question is, who pays and who gets paid? People don't realize that it's slavery. There were blacks who owned slaves as well. There were 3,700 blacks that owned 12,000 slaves. Now, 3 tribes, the Chickasaws tribes, the Creek Indians, they own 3,500 slaves.
Notice how he called them black, by the way. Notice how he called them black, but keep in mind, I told you that
just about to say what he said. You notice on TV, this was Tucker Carlson. He just said, who's going to get the reparation money if blacks own slaves? We talking about the Chickasaw, the Cherokee. We talking about these Indian tribes. They was black. So he's saying they own some of these Africans that was coming over here as prisoners of war that was bought by Englishmen. Been brought over here to work in these fields for them, and white slaves that was coming over here working in them fields as well, and black Chickasaw tribes, Cherokees, Blackfoots. They had they had white slaves too working in them fields. It's a movie that came out, I think it's called like Moonlight or the Sunflower Moon, Under the Sunflower Moon or something like that. I'm gonna look for it. And I'm gonna do a reaction to it, but yeah, it's basically gonna sum a lot of shit up. But basically what he's saying is the Indian niggas that they was talking about is that had slaves is black. They're not what you think motherfucking in Hollywood showing you these motherfuckers that look however they look. You know what I'm saying? That's not them. The motherfucking Indians is the niggas that you so-called African Americans. You mixed them up with the African slaves you brought over here, and you only bought a few of them. You didn't buy many. A few hundred, maybe a few thousands at the most. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't many, bro. I'm trying to tell y'all, it was not that many.
Family members hired our family members. Okay? That's not the point. We're talking about who benefited should be held responsible. Okay? That's what we're talking
about. See, when they talk about reparations, they need to be talking about black communities that have been burnt down, my nigga, in the 1900s. And all the bullshit that happened to our people in the late 1800s with all this prejudice shit. This is what they need to be talking about, how the government helped aid burn down black communities and black businesses and black success and threw us on motherfucking welfare. And today you got us all out here scattered growing up in motherfucking project housing, rapping, thug life, drug dealing, gang banging, all this other shit. You know what I'm saying? All this shit is a cause and effect. What you see right now in the black community, how it's hell right now, is like one big ass, illiterate, dumbass party that just allow anything to happen, nigga, and it just constantly going on. And it's like you can't exit the party, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? Just a wild ass party. It's hell. You know what I'm saying? But before it wasn't like that. It was paradise. It was hardworking motherfucking farmers, educated builders. We was inventors. We was a lot of good shit, nigga. And due to what they did to us, nigga, is how we fucked up now. And they orchestrated this shit. So therefore, if you know you did this whole ass shit, nigga, move the fuck out the way. Give us our motherfucking peace, our freedom, and get out our goddamn way. You should not be allowed to come arrest us no more. Nothing. Go handle your shit. Handle your people. Let us govern, build our own government, and we start handling our people. We'll fix up the crime and the gangbanging and all that shit in due time. But give us our land. Move out the fucking way. Do y'all thing over there. Let us do our thing over here. We don't have no ties with y'all no more. All the niggas y'all got in prison, y'all shit. We want to figure something out about that too, because them our people. You know what I'm saying? And the Mexicans can join with us, and we all can come together, and we can start rebuilding all our shit. The Mexicans good at doing this shit. You know, they build good communities and civilizations.
So that's who should be held responsible. Should be, well, who pays? Do the sons and daughters of those blacks and Native Americans that own slaves, do their ancestors? Now he turned around and said Native American. And so it's a little more complicated.
You see that? Because he just slipped up. He already said who gonna get the reparations? The black. He said the black people that own slaves. Blacks own slaves too. The Chickasaw shit. We can go back and rewind the motherfucker. Don't try to remix it up and say the Native Americans and all the Native Americans is the make-believe motherfuckers. We ain't talking about them no more.
What about the whites who came here after slavery? What about the hundreds of thousands who died? They benefited in a civil war who never owned slaves. Right. And so I just think that we ought to take this into consideration when we're talking about slavery. It's also providing exemption from personal responsibility. With all of the problems that Black America has, for someone to say that the answers to those challenges are external. Let's just say we accept the premise that reparations should be paid. What problem does it solve? If whites paid blacks money on Monday and we come back 2 weeks later, what would be the impact on black crime?
That's basically what he's saying. Like, if they give us $100 million a piece right now, that shit drop your account. Like I said, what niggas gonna do? Crime, believe you, crime gonna drop. You said what impact it's gonna have on crime? Up, crime gonna drop like a motherfucker. It ain't gonna be a nigga out here to do a crime. You understand me? If any crime will be going on, motherfucker gonna be ODing, probably car crashing, drunk, it's gonna be partying and all. That's what most niggas gonna be doing, spending motherfucking money. Not working, spending money, living their life, traveling. You're gonna have some people clean their shit up and do some shit. But majority, you know what I'm saying, it's not gonna be like we all gonna come together, cause niggas' minds not like that. Niggas are gonna be like, I got money. I'm not about to be sitting over there in no group marching and talking about, you know what I'm saying, I'm trying to come together with other niggas and build communities and shit. Because they like, I wanna do my own thing, nigga. I wanna buy, travel, do this. Bitches wanna get their hairs done, nails done, eat good crab legs, travel, all that good shit. They ain't gonna be thinking about none. The majority, a lot of them guys not gonna be thinking about building shit. You gonna have your ones that's over there doing this shit, but a lot of niggas ain't gonna be thinking about nothing. Look at my shit, nigga. We up now. We got $100 million to do whatever the fuck I want.
What would be the impact of drug addiction?
I'm going to tell you right now, it will solve a lot of our problems. Number one, it has to be bigger than reparations. It has to be bigger than money.
That's what I said. Fuck, it's not a nigga. Fuck, that's what I said. Yeah, motherfucker, some money. Yes, a lot of us gonna go do what we supposed to do. We gonna go buy community. We gonna start farms, all that. We gonna do everything right. But a lot of motherfuckers ain't gonna be thinking about that shit, because you see what they doing right now. Majority of the motherfuckers on social media and everything now. If a bitch on there shaking her ass all day, all night, and all she want to do is travel and trick and all that, she get $100 million in her account right now, she don't have the brain to say, I'm about to take this money and go start me a city and do this and start me a foundation and, you know, help my community out. They don't have the brain for that. They don't have the brain for that. Their brain is going to be on, nigga, I'm about to go get all the Gucci, all the Louis, I'm about to travel to Paris, I'm about to take all the pictures on Instagram. That's all it's going to be. They about to go to all the fanciest places, nigga, Caribbean, Jamaica, all that. Nigga, trust me, go get rubbed down by island niggas. They going to go live their fucking life, bro. You're not going to be thinking about none of this shit.
Gain control back of the lands that we once owned. That changes everything. That changes the whole demographic. At that point, we could provide jobs for those people out there that think they gotta hustle drugs and stuff like that, to do drugs just to get out of these hoods. We could take poverty away. We could take poverty away. Keep in mind, he's a civil rights activist, and I told you guys that a lot of those civil rights activists were agents. I'm not going to bring that up during this segment as far as breaking it down, but I could do that in another segment because I have broken that. I broke that down all the way to let you guys know that was the civil rights movement was straight up a psyop by the CIA and the federal government. But yeah, the majority of those people were agents. Some of them had.
If y'all don't know, that was all to push the movement and the narrative and the identity of black. Call me a lie if you want. I don't give a fuck. But before that, in the 50s and the 40s, calling a black man black was fucking disrespectful. You would have got your ass whooped. Even in some in the 60s at the time, they wasn't playing that shit. The 50s, the 40s, the 30s, the 20s, the early 1900s and the late 1800s, they call yourself no fucking black. They ain't even know what the fuck that meant. What's no black power? What's his name? Dude that used to march with Martin Luther King. Michael Corkley or something. I don't know. Some nigga name. Something. I forgot. I remember hearing his name one time in a Martin Luther King documentary when they said he used to be marching with King, but he used to be on some shit and King didn't really like it because he like, man, it's like you trying to infiltrate my movement and be on some bullshit and draw my message away, and I'm trying to, get us right, and you on some other shit just trying to push this violent narrative. But anyway, that dude, you know what I'm saying? So it was like shit like that. Like it was just to push the narrative to change the identity so we could stop going, because it was going into the Reconstruction again, another Reconstruction era of America. So they had, niggas had to change their identity. If you notice, every time Reconstruction happened in America, niggas' identities was getting changed. It went from Indian to Negro, colored, black, African American. You know what I'm saying? They keep changing.
Great intentions. So I'm not saying all of them. Some of them did have great intentions, but a lot of them had to, suck up the massa. You know what I'm saying? They had to kiss massa feet. But at the same time, a lot of them either said that because they don't understand, based off of them coming up in the 1960s, okay? And that's all they saw. A lot of people were not doing the correct things. They put their energy on things that they thought was going to benefit for our people. Not one time can you display any example of what black power is, still to this very day. What black power was back then and what black power is right now. You can't grab an example of that. What? Are you going to tell me that black power was you holding up a sign and marching? And what? And groups of our people got together and marched in Washington? That's black power? That's it? And you talking about what would be the benefit of that? What was the benefit of the civil rights movement?
Man, I'm going to pause it right there, man. I'm going to put the link to this video in the description, man, and I want y'all to go watch the rest of it, man. That's my boy Dane Calloway. Now, he had a lot of points. Now, he got tons of videos. Like I tell y'all, man, this nigga go deep, man. I mean, this brother go deep. He go real deep with this shit. You know what I'm saying? And when I say he got real evidence to back his shit up. He not just talking. So, like, I always wanted to do this shit. And then, like, I even bought this book right here and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I got a couple more other books upstairs and shit, but I ain't about to go upstairs and grab all these other books. But that's the one I'm right now still reading and shit. But, I paid like $70, you know what I'm saying, for it. It was 60 something, but after tax and everything, like 70. And it was only 2 of these left, and I ended up getting the last one. So, yeah, though, real shit. Like, man, it's crazy, bro, how we just fucked up like the way we is right now in this country, bro. And I think that's because we lack all the knowledge and we don't know who the fuck we is and all the great accomplishments that we had. But like, bro was hit a lot of points. So go watch all his shit that y'all probably never seen. Like, he got videos for years. So like, if you go back to his latest body of work and try to catch up, it's gonna take you some time. You can still watch the newest shit, but when you like, through watching all his latest shit, when you want to catch up, go back and watch all his old shit and, start catching up, with the work. But I wanted to do this shit, but I seen him doing it, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, shit, fuck it, you know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna, start reacting to all the bro shit and just, you know what I'm saying, and push his message. with everybody else because it's already out there. So it ain't like I gotta go rebuild the message up and push it because it's already being pushed. So I just gotta aid and, you know what I'm saying, push it with them. So, you know, that's Dane Calloway, man. Put the link in the description and everything. If y'all on Instagram or anything, I believe his name is just, you can find him at just Dane Calloway, DaneCalloway, Calloway. Yeah, I think it ain't, it's spelled just like that, yeah. So, it ain't got no underscores, no dots, no none of that. Just spelled just like that. So, y'all go follow him, bro. And I'll hit y'all some more shit. I'm out.